Could you help us out by telling us defining what a forest guard is, so that we understand their role in this milieu? And you've heard, because I would be interested in knowing the difference between a forest guard as a category of professional and other security agencies.
Okay, well, what we have at the moment, as forest guards, they are a unit. In some states, like in my home state of Kaduna State, it is a unit, a department in the Ministry of Agriculture. Basically with the responsibility of guarding the forest for agro uses, for agricultural advancement. The forest guard that we are proposed, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is proposing, and to which we supported him, and we also have recommendations, is that we need, it is a forest guard which is going to recruit, youths or people from the communities that are close to the forest, or you can say from the forest communities. So we
is there any such thing as a forest? Well, you said it, so there must be. But what does forest community mean? People don't live in forests. But when you started by saying that
people who live at the fringes of the forest, every forest that you see, there are people who own it.
Yes.
There are people that forest is their farmland, or there are people who used to live in some parts of those forests but have migrated to other places close to the township or the cities and are staying there.
Okay.
Like for instance, now, if you come to Bariki, to Abuja, the forest that was abducted, if you go to that, there is always a community that lives at the fringes of that forest. Right. So
because we hear of people being kidnapped and taken into the forest. And I was trying to see if it's possible to make a distinction between rural communities and forest proper, where you'd have forest guards, with the emphasis that you initially drew of agricultural, inclinations.
Yes. So let me come back to that. The forest guard, as we have it today, are basically concerned to care about farms, felling of trees, and all of that. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying he's going to mandate them with the core mandate of monitoring the forest and reading out violent groups. So now we are saying that there is a forest, right? And most times those forests are uninhabited. They can be likened to say they are ungoverned. And in most of those times, most people, there are not, maybe you just find maybe hamlets or very few individuals in that forest. And that is where these criminals have hijacked and are staying in that forest. Now we are saying that there are always community people who understand that forest very well, and they live at the fringes of that forest, right? Or they can live even in that forest. Now we are saying that with their vast understanding of the forest terrain, they would be able to track down these bandits, these criminals, and help, in arresting them, or also identifying who are the law-abiding occupants of the forest and those that are not. And we believe that this will go a long way, because one of the challenges, some of the challenges that our military, that our security apparatus have had, is a vast and deep understanding of the forest.
Okay.
Sometimes these bandits meander their way out of the sight of our troops when they go after them. But the villagers or the people living in these forest communities understand this forest, and as such, if they liaise, if they collaborate with the military, with our security apparatus, they will be able to read them out. Let me quickly add this to you, that we are taking our cue from the Civilian Joint Task Force, which the Vice President, when he was governor of Borno State, initiated in collaboration with the NSA, with the National Security Office of the National Security Advisor, back then in 2012. when Boko Haram had encroached into the city of Maiduguri, so much that they were even toying with, or they were even serious with the idea to take over the government house. If you remember, bombs were going off and on anytime, anywhere in Maiduguri. But what did Kashim Shettima do? He recruited these boys from the city, you know, and they were able to share their intelligence of their vast understanding of the terrain.
All right.
And that was how Boko Haram was read out. Some were arrested, and the remaining they were chased, and they were forced to remain in Sambisa. Now we are saying that we want a forest guard, a forest guard that will remain in the forest and guard it. Ask you a question, sir. Now we so much understand, especially as for me, a journalist who has spent most of my years of journalism in hostile environment. I've embedded with the military in Maiduguri, in Nasarawa, in Kaduna, in Plateau State, covering all these things. I understand what the military are doing, and honestly, we applaud them. They are doing their very best. If anybody is in doubt of that, we will not be here having this conversation, because for the terrorists, they would have taken over Nigeria. But our military people have successfully stopped them. But there is the deficiency is the understanding, you know, of this forest. And if they bring this forest guard to work along with them, they will be able to successfully, you know, secure this forest. So what I was about to really put in was that if, like the police special force that has gone into the forest of Abuja and has be able to secure the release, you know, of some of the abductees. Now, I believe that the insurgents that are there would have fled that place now. Now, who should remain in that forest to ensure that, to hold the ground and ensure that this violent group, these criminals, these terrorists do not return?
That would be the forest guards, right? That would have to be the forest guards. Okay, I'm going to have to take a